Greetings all, Mark C. here from aradicalu.com. That's aradicalu.com, where together we are waking up the world. Today I'd like to tackle one of my favorite subjects, our relationship to thoughts. Now when I was a kid, a popular meme out there was that a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And that fits rather neatly into our Western cultural bias that the mind and its favorite function, thinking, is king. Once the mind is mastered, all problems are solved. Now, there's a kernel of truth in some of that because, think of all the technological advances and how they've made life easier over the years. The fact that I'm talking to you now is a marvel that we can thank many incredible minds for making this possible. But when things get into a little bit of a problem, is that when we think the mind is everything. It's all that in a bag of chips, right? So a quote from comedian Emo Phillips I really like here. He said, "I used to think the brain was the most useful organ in my body. Then I realized who was telling me this." A New Yorker cartoon I saw many years ago kind of summed up what our actual experiences with thoughts on a day-to-day basis. It was picturing this guy about to embark on this lonesome highway, and there was a sign there that said, "Your annoying, repetitive thoughts the next 600 miles." So, of course, getting rid of thoughts, however repetitive, annoying, or toxic, is akin to stopping the waves on the ocean. It ain't going to happen. So if you try to do meditation like I used to do and try to shut up the mind, that's not going to work either. Trust me, if you haven't done it or if you try to do it and with no success, you're not doing anything wrong. Another way that the mind kind of plays tricks on us is that if we just think good thoughts, good things will come our way. In this vein, it's the universe is kind of like this big vending machine, and you get rewarded if you get positive. If you thought positive about something, on the opposite end, if you thought negatively about it, you get squat. How many times I've seen this play out with people when someone is trying really, really hard to get that BMW and didn't get it, and then either blames himself or other people are blaming him because or her because they didn't think positive thoughts. It's somehow their fault. Nah, that's all nonsense. The point I'm trying to make with all of this, that we're relying on a part of us which we truly believe is our master and it's our liberator, and yet we still suffer. I would argue that it's the slavish devotion to this attachment to our thoughts is what creates the biggest problems for us. We use our mind to try to fix a past that is done and over with, or we try to fix a future which hasn't even happened yet. And most of our thoughts are pretty self-referential anyway, if you think about it. Just think about all the things you're going to do, and oh, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do that, then, so on and so forth. I don't have to remind you. As I've said in previous videos, many of our thoughts are just a function of our conditioning. Many of our thoughts are just that. They're nothing more. And it's not even just we can blame the adults in our life, mom and dad, because this actually goes back through evolution. It has that kind of component to it. When the tiger, was lurking in the wilds and thought they were about to devour us, and we were always on guard for peril. And now, while we don't have a tiger in hot pursuit of us anymore, those evolutionary echoes have still remained with us. And we have to be on guard, and we have to be thinking and planning and all of that all the time. That's even true even in our seemingly relatively comfortable lives. The fact of the matter is bad things actually did happen to us. Maybe not a saber-toothed tiger going after you, but something bad probably happened to you somewhere along the line. Which led us to stay on guard all the time. And then our minds are doing what they're supposed to do, which is to protect us. Yet in doing so, our creativity and joy gets cut off. We're literally cut off from our souls. Now, what to do about this? No, I've always admired the value in a meme that says that it may feel real, but is it true? That kind of framing, where you question the validity of a situation or challenge. To quote the old Sedona method, is it true? Is it really true? But like any mental construct, if we keep it there, the danger is that we'll start just another intellectual joust with ourselves. Oh, I don't know. Is it true? I don't know. Maybe in this circumstance it's true. Maybe in that circumstance it's not true. You can just go on and on and on about that. So how to undercut that in some way? And not to get rid of it. We're not going to get rid of our thoughts. But we have to somehow manage them and tame them and work with them. The approach that I like to take is through the emotional freedom technique, also known as EFT, tapping. And when we tap on our meridian points, these are our sort of comfort points that make us feel safe. And it tells our nervous system that we're safe, even if what we're going through is unbearable or uncomfortable. Okay? So that's why I like to use this, because we can talk about it. We can give voice to those things that are troubling us, and not relying on our mind, but actually calming down our nervous system as we go through. So tapping is a very compassionate way to give you some self-semblance of safety, even when the metaphorical tiger is lurking behind the bushes. Self-compassion is the key. And I know what you might be thinking. Well, I can't be self-compassionate. Okay, fair enough. But can you be open to the possibility of self-compassion in the service of alleviating suffering? No one wants to wake up in the morning thinking, how am I going to suffer today? All right, so at least be open to that possibility. So we're going to do a tapping exercise. One pervasive thought that dogs many people, including myself, just ask anybody who knows me, is the what could happen syndrome. A lot of suffering, as I've alluded to before, revolves around either something in the past or something in the future. I tend to be very future oriented and planning and trying to fix what I think are going to be things that are going to be coming up, anticipating problems. Maybe in a previous life I should have been a security guard or something. I don't know. But anyway, the reality is something may have happened that did happen and it did turn out poorly for us. And now we spend a good deal of our time and energy trying to ensure it's never going to happen again. And of course, on a practical level, we're going to mitigate harm by doing what's necessary when a true threat looms. But when we get into this mental habit of worrying about an event, as if the worrying is somehow going to inoculate us from harm. It's a kind of mind-based insurance policy, The mind loves this because it'll just keep going with it. Well, this could happen. You better get ready. You better do this. You better do that. So there's no sense in trying to fight it, as I mentioned. It's kind of like fighting with a robot. And the robot's always going to win if you fight on that turf. We have to address these thoughts on the level of energetic assumptions from our conditioning, which gave rise to them in the first place. So to complete the analogy about the robot, we turn the power switch off on the robot. And in order to do so, we have to feel safe and okay to do that. So we're going to tap on our nervous system to tell our nervous system that we're safe. It's only when we feel safe that we can begin to question those assumptions. So let's do a tapping exercise right now. You can follow along with me. You can repeat silently or out loud what I'm saying. But this is about good old-fashioned anxiety and worry. I am a worrier. I worry about everything. I mean, something is going to go wrong. Something could go wrong. I know it's going to go wrong. Things have gone wrong in the past. And I've got to be prepared for it. And while I feel this way, I'm open to the possibility of loving myself nonetheless. I have this anxiety. It dogs me all the time. It's painful, but I've got to be ready. If I'm not ready, something is going to happen. So I have to put all my ducks in a row. And even though I feel this way, I love, or I'm open to loving myself nonetheless. Let's tap through the points. All this worry, all this anxiety. I know something could happen. I've got to watch everything. I watch my bank account constantly just to make sure there's enough money in it. I check my car out thoroughly every day just to make sure it's going to run right. I take it to the mechanic every couple of weeks because something could go wrong. I'm a planner, and planning really suits me. It helps, and also drives me crazy. I'm anxious all the time. I don't want to be anxious. I'd like to get rid of this anxiety. But I know it's there to protect me. I know it's there to help me. If I'm not ready, if I'm not worrying about it, something is going to happen. Something really bad can happen. Yet, what would I be like if I didn't have to worry so much? What would life be like if I could relax a little bit? Oh, I can't relax. I can't. Oh, but what would it feel like if I could? I don't know. I'd like to find out. I'd really like to find out. Being on guard is pretty exhausting, crazy. I'm going to ask my nervous system to look into this. Just explore. I still am going to be on guard, but I want to explore what relaxation could look like. Take a deep breath. The question is, how true does that feeling of anxiety sit with you right now? I know for me that just giving it voice, because it wants to tell you what it's doing, it's trying to get out, actually helps me to look at it. It helps me to understand where it's coming from. So let's do another round. And this time, we're going to explore how all of these worrying thoughts, let's see where it goes. I'm just going to tap right through the points. All this worry, all this anxiety. I want to let it go, but it has a hold on me. Or does it? What would it feel like if I could relax just a tad? Maybe I could relax 20% more of the time. I'd still want to be on guard. I still want to plan. I wouldn't be taking the planning part of me away from me, because I like that. But maybe I don't have to be so vigilant. Maybe I don't have to be so tight. Oh, this wave of relaxation just went through my solar plexus. Could it really be possible? yeah, I don't have to worry all the time. I don't have to think about what bad is going to happen. I mean, I could understand that something could happen, but the chances of it happening probably are not that great. I mean, I've done a lot of things where things have gone very smoothly. Yeah, I planned for them, but some of my happiest moments were when I didn't hold on so tight and I just kind of went with the flow a little bit. I'd like to go with the flow a little bit more. I love the fact that my worrying thoughts have protected me. They've done such a great job. Thank you. Thank you. But if I can just relax a little more and not feel the need to be so anxious, hell, I'd feel better. I might even be easier person to be around most of the time. I want to check that out. I think it's worth checking out. Knowing all the while that I can go into planning mode if I have to. But let's see. Take a deep breath. Now, just understand that you're not going to get rid of those things, those thoughts. They're there. But you notice that feeling a little calmer makes my relationship to that anxiety a little more manageable. I don't have to be captive to it. I'd love to hear your comments, so please write them below. Also, remember to like, share, and subscribe. That will help me grow the content on this channel. And if you're looking for compassionate coaching, you can visit my website at aradicalyou.com. That's aradicalyou.com. And I'd love to hear from you and work with you. Together, let's wake up the world. Namaste.